The room was quiet when Caitriona Balfe said it. Her voice was steady, but the emotion behind it cracked through like thunder. Sometimes, people you thought would be in your life forever, simply drift away. It was one of those sentences that didn't need a name attached. Everyone knew who she was talking about. Sam Heughan. For nearly a decade, they had been inseparable, not in the romantic way the tabloids like to imagine, but in the kind of rare friendship that feels unbreakable. Together, they had built Outlander from the ground up, transforming a small historical romance into a global phenomenon. Through brutal weather, endless filming days, and emotional storylines that blurred fiction and reality, Sam and Caitriona had become each other's anchor. Their chemistry was legendary. Their laughter on set was contagious. They shared inside jokes in interviews, stole glances that fans analyzed for years, and spoke of each other with a tenderness that felt almost sacred. Sam once said, "Caitriona is my partner in every sense of the word. I trust her completely," and she had called him, "my best friend in the world." But that was then. Over the past year, something changed. Fans noticed it first: the silence. No birthday posts, no playful comments on Instagram, no behind-the-scenes photos together. At premieres, they stood apart. At conventions, their energy felt distant. It wasn't anger, it was absence. The internet, of course, went wild. Are Sam and Caitriona still friends? Did something happen behind the scenes? Every tiny interaction, or lack of it, became a headline. But Caitriona stayed silent, until that day. During an interview for a new independent film, a journalist casually asked her about friendships that had shaped her life. She smiled, hesitated for a moment, then said softly, "There's someone who meant a lot to me. We went through so much together. But sometimes, life pulls people in different directions." The interviewer pressed gently, "Are you talking about Sam?" Caitriona didn't answer. She just gave that faint, bittersweet smile. The kind that holds more truth than words ever could. The clip went viral within hours. Fans flooded the comment sections with broken heart emojis and old photos of the two together. "They were soulmates," one fan wrote. "You could see it in their eyes." As the news spread, entertainment outlets picked up the story. Caitriona Balfe speaks out about losing her best friend, fans devastated. Some called it overreaction. Others said it was confirmation of what everyone had suspected, that the once unshakable friendship between Caitriona Balfe and Sam Heughan had quietly fallen apart. Those who knew them behind the scenes described a bond that went beyond the screen. "They leaned on each other for everything," a crew member said. "When one of them was down, the other lifted them up. It was beautiful to watch." But success, fame, and distance have a way of changing even the closest relationships. Caitriona's marriage, new film projects, Sam's expanding business ventures, they were no longer on the same path. Still, fans couldn't help but feel the loss as if it were their own. To them, Sam and Caitriona weren't just co-stars, they were the emotional core of Outlander, the heartbeat of a story that taught millions about love, loyalty, and sacrifice. Now, that heartbeat felt broken. On social media, tributes poured in. Fan edits set old interviews to sad music. Comments read like open letters. "You two gave us hope in friendship. Please don't let it end like this." But Caitriona didn't engage. Her silence seemed to confirm what her words only hinted at, that something had indeed changed forever. In a podcast recorded just weeks later, she spoke briefly about letting go. Her tone was calm but heavy. "I think sometimes you have to accept that people grow apart. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It just means you start caring differently." Listeners noticed how her voice trembled on the word differently. As one journalist wrote afterward, for Caitriona, losing Sam wasn't like a breakup. It was like losing a part of herself. And somewhere, between their laughter of the past and the silence of the present, the world began to realize, this wasn't just about two co-stars. It was about how even the strongest bonds can fade quietly, without anger, without goodbye. Just a lingering ache that never really leaves. When asked if she would ever work with Sam again, Caitriona paused, then said softly, "Never say never. He'll always have a special place in my heart." But in that pause, that tiny moment of silence before she spoke, fans could feel the truth. Something was gone, something that no amount of reunion photos or nostalgic interviews could ever bring back. The weeks following that interview felt like a long echo. Every entertainment site replayed the same clip of Caitriona's quiet smile, cutting it together with years of footage of her and Sam laughing on set. The internet mourned a friendship as if it had been a public relationship. Think pieces called it the end of an era. Behind the noise, the two of them were living separate lives. Sam was traveling through New Zealand for a film shoot, posting landscape photos and training videos, but nothing personal. Caitriona stayed mostly in Dublin, keeping close to her family and her small circle of friends. When asked about Outlander, she always spoke about gratitude and closure, words that sounded polite but distant. An article in a Scottish magazine finally hinted at what might have gone wrong. A former crew member described the slow drift that began during the pandemic, months apart, different projects, different priorities. They were used to seeing each other every day, the source said. When the world shut down, they both changed. It wasn't a fight, it was just time. Still, people wanted a reason. Some whispered about creative disagreements, others about jealousy, others about the weight of fame. In truth, it seems simpler and sadder. Two people who had carried each other through the most intense years of their careers had outgrown the space they once shared. Caitriona finally addressed it more directly during a podcast about friendship and fame. Her voice was calm, almost clinical, until the host asked if she'd lost anyone she never expected to lose. There was a pause. Then she said, "When you work with someone for that long, they become a part of you. But sometimes, holding on starts to hurt more than letting go. I had to let go." Listeners knew immediately who she meant. The comment sections filled with heartbreak. One fan wrote, "They taught us that love isn't always romantic. Sometimes it's the friendship you thought would last forever." Sam, for his part, didn't respond publicly. But a few days later, he posted a cryptic message on Instagram. "Gratitude for the people who shaped you, even if they no longer walk beside you." No names, no explanation, just a photo of a Scottish hillside at dusk. It was enough. Fans stitched the two quotes together like pieces of a letter never sent. The story wrote itself. Caitriona and Sam had said their final goodbye, quietly, respectfully, and with love still lingering in the air. Industry insiders later revealed that both had agreed not to discuss each other in interviews for a while, to give space, to let time soften the edges. They didn't fall out, one producer said. They just needed distance. After 10 years of sharing everything, they wanted something that was theirs alone. Months passed. Awards season came and went. They were never seen together, but neither spoke ill of the other. In fact, when Sam's new film premiered, Caitriona quietly liked the post from her private account. A small, silent gesture, but fans noticed. It was enough to remind them that affection can survive even after closeness fades. During an appearance at a literary festival later that year, Caitriona read from a poem she loved. "Some friendships don't end, they just change address." When the crowd applauded, she smiled through glistening eyes. It was the kind of smile that said she'd made peace with the loss. And perhaps that was the truth of it. They hadn't stopped caring, they had simply learned to love each other from a distance. What once was daily laughter and shared scenes had turned into quiet respect and gratitude from afar. As one journalist wrote afterward, "Maybe the saddest goodbyes aren't shouted or fought. They're whispered through time." That night, Caitriona posted one final thought to her followers. "Cherish your friends. Some stay for a chapter, some for a lifetime. Either way, they shape who you are." She didn't mention Sam's name, but she didn't have to. The world already knew, and somewhere, across the ocean, he surely saw it, and smiled. Because even though they had lost each other's presence, they would always share the story that made them both who they are. And in that sense, they hadn't really lost anything at all.